Rapper MC Lyte has been blazing a trail for women in hip-hop music for 30 years, and her career is a laundry list of accomplishments. She was Grammy nominated by the tender age of 23, making her the first female solo rapper to receive the honor. Then she headed to the Los Angeles chapter of the Grammy organization, making her the first African-American to head that up. She both performed for and worked with the Obama White House on issues like education. And in October of last year, she received the W.E.B. Du Bois Medal from Harvard University for her 3-decade contribution to African-American culture. I caught up with her late this week, right before her heading next week to speak and be part of National Action Network's annual convention in New York. Welcome, MC, to Politics Nation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Well, the honor's ours, and in fact, you're not only speaking at the convention, you're being honored at the convention by women because of your trailblazing activities in our culture and in the country. Let me ask you, where do you see? There's a lot of talk about millennials, a lot of talk about hip-hop having gone mainstream the last decade or so, but I remember when you helped to be a trailblazer for that and really set a course when people were saying, well, we don't even know if rap's gonna last and we don't know what hip-hop is. Looking back now, and you're still very young, vibrant, and out there, how do you look at where the culture has been impacted by hip-hop and where hip-hop is today?
Well, I certainly believe the culture has impacted, the culture has been impacted by hip-hop and vice versa. I think for the most part, what we relied on to come from hip-hop in my day was very different from today. As a matter of fact, I think the young folks that listen to hip-hop today really don't have a concept of how we used hip-hop as a tool to educate and how we used it as a tool to somewhat be like the news. You know, we told the truth and we gave the perspective of what was happening out on the streets. So I can't say that they're even aware of what to expect from the genre of hip-hop, but I still think that hip-hop has enough power that it could still be the very tool to get the message across. And in fact, it is. When it's time to vote, it's hip-hop artists that are put to the test, and they are the ones that deliver the votes. People come out and support, and they trust hip-hop MCs and the storytellers to give them the truth. You know,
it started that way, you're right, and they still depend on that vehicle. I remember when, in the 80s, when we were marching around Howard Beach and different racial incidents in New York, it was hip-hop artists like Public Enemy and others that was really giving the news with the beat, and it was all one movement. I mean, we were in the streets, and you and others were in the studio and dealing with tracking the records, and Spike was doing movies, and no one thought it would ever go to where it is now, where you have the actual mainstream of music really imitating what many of you started.
Absolutely. It's we just left Dillard University, where I got the opportunity to talk to some students there, and really it is a completely different picture of what was happening when we came out. And I do think there are artists today that speak to the issues that are happening, however, they aren't necessarily mainstream. And we got into this whole talk about what is hip-hop versus what is rap. And they seem to think it had switched around. Like, they thought that rap was what was what was important and vital to the culture. And in reality, it's the exact opposite. You know, hip hop, what they often remember to say is these are the 4 elements. It's graffiti, it's breakdancing, it's rhyming, it's DJing. Well, they forget the 5th, and the 5th is knowledge. And so it's up to hip hop artists that are in it today that have mainstream records out to also do the records that will teach and inform the youth about what's really happening and what they can do. You know, we had songs that taught us how to be an adult or how to become an adult and how to raise families, you know, and I attribute that to Public Enemy and KRS-One and some of the greats. And today we still have folks that fight the good fight. You know, David Banner, Scarface is still Public Enemy with Chuck D, J. Cole. You know, these are folks that are not afraid to speak the truth.
Now, in this era now of Trump, you worked with the Obama White House. You did a lot there. I was close with that administration because I agree with their policy. But we have a new president now. There are new policies. How important will it be for artists today to really deal with their fan base in terms of knowledge of what's going on, pro and con? Because now we're facing a different kind of policy in policing and in mass incarceration and even employment. How important is it for artists to be able to deal with this? And do you think this will force some of them that have not gone the route of a Chuck D or even a Kendrick Lamar to say, I've got to recalibrate where I'm going to make my contribution to my fans?
Absolutely. I think someone that's a living testament to that is T.I. He has definitely taken a different approach from what we've seen him do in the past, and that is he's becoming responsible in what it is that he gives forth to his fan base. I actually follow him on social media, and he's always addressing an issue that otherwise a lot of his counterparts kind of stay away from. I do think it is extremely important that for as much as we know that we are able to give that knowledge to the fans that follow us and frankly would rather have that information from us than to have it come from anyone else. So I would imagine that a lot of hip-hop artists are feeling the pressure. Whether or not they choose to do anything with it is another circumstance.
Yeah, and I agree with you. T.I. is absolutely one of them. Chance the Rapper, I'm very proud of him.
Absolutely.
And have talked with him. MC Lyte, you've been honored this week by National Action Network. You were honored at Harvard. What is the most important thing that you want people to know about MC Lyte when it all is over and you're sitting on a rocking chair telling your grandchildren about what you and your contribution has made? What do you want to highlight?
Well, first I got to have some children to have the grandchildren. But I do know some folks that know some folks, and I have godchildren and so on and so forth. I think the most important thing for me is to not be afraid to ask questions. You know, I got much older in life and realized that I didn't know everything, and that someone else may have the piece of knowledge, that jewel that they'd like to drop upon me that I could take, and hopefully I can benefit from that knowledge. So I would like, sitting on that rocking chair, as you spoke of, to just be recognized for the philanthropic work, for sending many, many kids to school, or young men and women to further their education, and being an inspiration to others. And then also, you know, not afraid to speak the word of God.
All right. MC Lyte, we're looking forward to seeing you this week. And bring your books with you. Everybody wants to read your book and get you to sign it for them.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much, Reverend.
MC Lyte, many thanks. And a reminder, MC Lyte will join us in New York for our first National Action Network convention in the era of President Donald Trump. It's just 3 days away, April 26th to the 29th. We're featuring the best civil rights leaders, elected officials, business executives, activists, grassroots activists, clergy, We kick off Wednesday morning with former Attorney General Eric Holder and then Tom Perez. Friday is Senator Bernie Sanders. It's all free at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Sign up. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.